mean, wow. Talk about long titles. Preparations to be together for an unknown period of time. Wow. M-rated, 95 minutes. Truth or fiction? A brilliant, self-sufficient, Hungarian-born neurosurgeon about to turn 40, Marta Vizzi, played by Natasha Stork, meets the man of her dreams, Janos Drexler, played by Victor Bodo, at a New Jersey conference. We're talking about July 2019. He turns out to be a Hungarian too, something she did not know when she first set eyes upon him. After spending the day with him, she arranges to meet him at a specific location in Budapest. That's where he works, also as a neurosurgeon. And that meeting was to take place exactly a month to the day after they spent that day together. But he doesn't show up. When she tracks him down, he claims to have no knowledge of her. Meanwhile, she's decided to pack in 19 or 20 years' work in the United States and a great job to follow her instincts. And put simply, she can't be talked out of doing that. She takes up residence in a rundown apartment in the Hungarian capital and finds work below her station in life at the hospital where Drexler has been employed. That provokes suspicion. On one of her rounds, she questions her superior's judgment and is quickly put in her place. Then she's assigned a case that proves to be a game changer. Drexler is on the case too and sees Vizzy do something that changes the patient's outcome. After that, he flits in and out of her life, frequently disappearing without explanation. Right? I'm talking about Drexler. So, Vizzy starts to question her own sanity, consults a therapist to try to unpack and make sense of what she's going through. Is she delusional? Is Drexler merely a figment of her imagination? If the latter, why wouldn't he follow through on the obvious connection between them? I greatly appreciated the intensity and the mystery in a great title, Preparations to Be Together for an Unknown Period of Time. What do you reckon, Dave?
Yeah, look, I really enjoyed this film. It surprised me with the way that it went and the direction that it took, but I found myself for most of this film sitting there trying to work out exactly what was going on with Vizzy, with this guy Drexler. Was he an imaginary figure? At one point I thought because she was a neurosurgeon that perhaps she in fact had a tumour and it was making her imagine someone that was there that wasn't there. I found this film absolutely fascinating, and to be honest, it was one of those films when I first read the plot where I was kind of like, am I going to really like this? But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this film, and I thought the performance by Natasha Stork was absolutely fantastic as well.
I agree. Excellent as a lead. She balances the sort of measured nature of a surgeon with a level of anticipation and excitement that comes with finding, quote, the one. There is intrigue throughout this, Greg, and you're genuinely left speculating as to what's real and what may not be.
That may be so, Alice, but I haven't had a chance to catch up with this one.
No, you will. I'm sure you will. But Peter Krausz, Bodo, I thought, was convincing as the game player. I mean, there's a lot more going on there than at first meets the eye with Drexler, isn't there?
There's definitely a lot going on, and that's what I liked so much about this film. The subtext is so intriguing about the whole notion of what is real, what is fantasy, and of course, underlying so many Hungarian films, which is producing so many fascinating films, is the political undertone that goes as part of the film. I was very impressed because it gave you that idea that what you are seeing may or may not be occurring, and that what she is experiencing may or may not be occurring as well. And so, I mean, the resolution is of interest. I'm not entirely convinced with the resolution, but overall, I thought it was a pretty good film, which has a lot to say underneath.
Well, we don't learn the truth until almost the end of the picture. Plaudits there are due to the scriptwriter and the director, Lily Horvath, for crafting such an engaging work. Another of interest in the cast is Bennett Vilmany, who plays Alex. Now, Alex is a medical student's son of the patient that Vizzy helps to save. And he, I thought, was believable as the sort of young man who changes his view of Vizzy and subsequently shows more than a passing interest in her, and that just sort of adds another element, another layer to the storyline. I reckon this movie, Preparations to Be Together for an Unknown Period of Time, fires up the imagination. It maintains interest. It's enigmatic, and it's also an intelligent piece of filmmaking with an appropriate title to match, I thought, Dave.
It is, and it's just the kind of film that you just know that Hollywood is going to remake over the next few years as well. And I'm not always a big fan of that. I love foreign cinema, and sometimes I cringe when I hear that there's going to be a Hollywood remake, but I can just see this film being remade by Hollywood because it is such a fascinating story. Like I said, I sat there for 3/4 of this film thinking, what is going on? It was just one of those movies where, and being someone who works as a screenwriter and has taught screenwriting, I can often see through what the screenwriter is trying to do with a film like this. I could not pick this one at all.
No, I loved it for the same reason, Dave. I think that's terrific. So, Preparations to Be Together for an Unknown Period of Time, M-rated, 95 minutes. Score, Dave?
I am giving this one 8.5 out of 10.
I'm giving it an 8, and Peter Krausz, you'll be lower, of course, won't you?
No, not at all. And I love the title, because we could have a discussion about the longest film titles in film history. But 8 out of 10 from me.
Yeah, right, fantastic.